Good day, people. Today, I'm doing a video that someone requested, even though I've said several times where my stance on as far as church and state. It is very important, and you all need to understand this very, very strongly. First, we're going to talk about the Constitution again. You notice I love that document. First Amendment. Every one of you say the First Amendment is freedom of speech, freedom of speech. But that's actually the second thing in the First Amendment. Let me read you Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Then it starts talking about freedom of speech. So what does that say? Congress shall make no law respecting an established religion or prohibiting a free exercise. So, that means Congress can't say anything one way or the other about any religion or anything that deals with God. But before we get into this in any more detail where I stand, I'm going to tell you someone else. Now, Thomas Jefferson did a lot of writing on separation of church and state. I was a strong believer. But a lot of people don't know where it actually the basis for the whole thing comes from. And I've said it a couple of times. And I'm going to say it again. About 2,000 years ago, a group of people wanted to trap this man who was going around the countryside preaching about God, the love of God, and all that. And they wanted to trap him. So while I was in the temple, they asked him, basically, when it comes to tithes and taxes, which one do I pay? You pay first. And he held up a coin. He never answered that question. He held up a coin. And he said, whose face is on this coin? They said, Caesar's. Then he said, then render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. And never shall the twain mix. In other words, the church is the church, the state is the state. They shall not mix. They shall be separated. And according to the Constitution, the very First Amendment, Congress cannot make a decision one way or the other. Then we have a problem then. What do we do? Well, you see, there's another amendment called 10. Powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the state, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. So what does that say? Not only is church and state separate, but the federal government cannot make a ruling one way or the other in regards to anything dealing with God. It's left up to the states, the communities, the people. So, all yous out there want to know, what do I think about prayer at school? What's the First Amendment say? I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed even to express my opinion one way or the other. As president, I cannot. And that's the way it will be. Church and state will be separate. Then what will I say? Well, because the prayer in school, I'll have to say, I guess, according to the Constitution, it's left up to the state and or the people. Now let's talk a little bit about gay marriages. Now, a union between two people, yes, the federal government has the authority to say, yes, we will accept unions between two people. They will be validated and legal, and have the legal privileges of a union, which can only be dissolved by legal actions or death. But as a marriage, well, a marriage is really a religious ceremony because God is involved. You get usually a minister or someone else. Can a justice of a peace perform a marriage? No. He could finalize a union because he is the federal government. It must be separate. But a marriage, that's between God. So what can I say as president about gay marriages? Well, what does it say? What did I tell you? I will not express my personal opinions about it whatsoever, because that is a religious matter, and that is to be separate. And that is between the states, the local communities, and their religious leaders. Nobody else. But as far as union between two people, that is a legal, straightforward precedent, and any two people should be able to seek a legalized union and have the benefits of a legalized union. That can only be dissolved by legal action, which we call divorces right now, or the death of one or the other. So what is my stance on church and state? Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. And never shall the twain meet or mix. I'm sorry, I can't say it any better than that. That was a wise man. For you who do not believe that Jesus was Jesus, the Son of God, then you could say he was a prophet. You could say he was a philosopher. You can say whatever you want. But he was a very, very wise man. You cannot doubt that. And, like the First Amendment says, as president, I can neither make a law one way or the other when it comes to religious matters. And I feel religion needs to follow the same respect. They should stay out of political matters. Let the state run the state, the government run the government, and let the people with their moral backgrounds stand, and let the church run the church and their religious backgrounds. So if any of you have any other questions, and this is in response to some questions, feel free. As far as church and state, they shall be separate, completely separate, and will never, in my administration, be mixed. Nor will my administration make any rules or regulations involving anything to do with God. I'm a strong believer in render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render unto God what is God's. And never shall the twain mix. Thank you. This is JD.